Hello and welcome to Season 3 of CNBC-TV18.com presents Digital Bharat in association with AWS. Now, before we begin, I would like all of you to know that today's Tech Shala is extremely significant in more ways than one. Not only is this the first Tech Shala of 2023, but it also marks the beginning of another season of Digital Bharat. The Digital Bharat initiative has been curated to enhance the digital capabilities of India's small and medium businesses by exposing and educating them to available cloud computing and tech solutions and programs, thus empowering them to innovate speedily, stay competitive, build resilience, and scale securely and sustainably. We proudly reveal, since its inception in 2021, Digital Bharat has built a community of more than 8,000 Indian SMEs at different stages of their cloud computing journeys and directly engaged and offered guidance on tailored tech solutions to 2,000 plus SMEs. Season 3 of Digital Bharat continues with its mission of fostering the digital transformation of Indian SMBs. Today's Tech Shala dives deep into the recently launched AWS Lift program for SMBs. AWS Lift helps address one of the key challenges preventing Indian SMBs from lifting their digital plans off the ground: access to cost-efficient IT infrastructure. We're joined by top industry experts and AWS leaders to help us understand how the AWS Lift model works, from eligibility to benefits, and how SMBs can leverage the AWS Lift program to access 200 fully fledged AWS cloud services to kickstart their digital journeys, increase top-line growth, and achieve cost efficiency in a disruptive ecosystem. Joining me in today's Tech Shala are Shrikant Srinivasan, Vice President and Head, Membership and Outreach, NASSCOM; Kanishk Nadkarni, Head of Software, Tork Motors; Jasjeet Singh, Head SMB, AWS India; and Devendra Kamtekar, Head Solution Architects, SMB, AWS India. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us on this Tech Shala. And my first question is a very broad question, and it's for the all of you. But if we could start with Kanishk first. The growth of MSMEs is crucial for fulfilling India's target of becoming a $5 trillion economy. So, let me start by asking all of you, how big is the potential of SMBs in India and how this sector is powering India's growth story? Kanishk, why don't you start first?
Sure. I think you made a very good point that the growth of MSMEs are extremely crucial because they are the ones who are agile and can work on very dedicated use cases, right? Unlike a big corporation that has to break down or build up multiple teams that work on independent technologies, you can have SMEs that work on very small and very niche products, right? So especially in the automotive sector, you have companies that have built their entire lifeline around just charging stations, right? Or motorcycles like us, or it could be something like autonomous driving. So they're very niche use cases that you can build an entire SME around. And I think that's going to be very crucial going forward.
All right. Shrikant, your thoughts on this?
So, Shruti, I fully agree with what Kanish said. Today digital transformation and adoption of technology is key, and as he said, this is extremely key for SMEs. More so because this gives them the agility, more importantly the scalability and flexibility, and very importantly the global competitiveness. That's very important for their growth phase. So I think in every which way technology becomes key to their future.
Absolutely. Jasjeet, your views.
So, Shruti, I'm going to come in with 3 points on this. The first is the MSME sector. That contributes to 33% of India's GDP, right? So it's a big, big play in that sense. The second is, if you look at the data from FY22, in terms of the new MSME registrations on the Udyam portal, one very interesting stat from there is MSME sector is actually leading the way in driving inclusiveness of bringing women to the main fold, because 17% of the new MSME registrations on the Udyam portal in FY22 were through women entrepreneurs. And the third, and this is something very interesting that I picked up from global research published by Dun & Bradstreet, is when you look at India, of every 100 companies, on average, 95 are micro SMBs, only 4 are small to medium, and 1 is large. But compare that to the developed economies, And in there, the number of micro SMBs is only 55, not 95 like in India, but 55. And the number of small and medium SMBs is 40. So clearly, this is where the entire latent growth potential for the economy resides. And as you look at the $5 trillion dream that India is gunning towards, MSME is a sector that's got that potential to power us through that.
All right, coming to you now, Devendra, do you agree with our fellow panelists? Your thoughts on this?
Oh yes, I completely agree with some of the thoughts put out there, but just to tag it in the right fashion, we always used to think that technology is an enabler. Today, technology is not an enabler, and technology is the business, irrespective of whichever vertical you are in. And definitely, MSMEs are driving the dream that India wants to reach a $5 trillion economy.
Okay, so picking up from what you just mentioned, it is absolutely essential for SMBs to adopt technology and improve their digital capabilities. So Shrikant, tell me, how can digitalization help SMBs overcome challenges to business expansion?
So again, to take on from what Devendra left, I say today technology is no more a choice. It is a necessity. It's no more a. I mean, earlier people used to think this can be an impediment in progress. It's no more an impediment. It is a necessity. People will have to kind of adapt to it as they go along. But if you look at the benefits, are multifold, right? As I said earlier, while it brings scalability, agility, and things like that, today it's more it gives businesses a sustainable competitive advantage for their growth. It gives them that for because today SMEs can and will have a rapid growth in whatever they do, and they definitely need to have this sustainable advantage. Now, what all can technology do? It can do multiple things to them. One, of course, it gives them the business continuity. It gives them the visibility. Second, it helps them to expand the customer base because technology today does not have any limitation. It can help you to go to newer geographies, newer verticals, newer everything, right? I mean, it can help you expand. And again, it also helps you in a lot of cost optimization. It knows where are you going right, where are you not going right, and helps you to optimize your cost. But last but not the least is in many businesses today, customers don't want a one shoe fits all, right? They want a
Yeah.
personalized service, and technology today brings in that not even ultra but micro personalization, if I can call it so, to the end customer. And so that all these together give you that sustainable advantage when you reach out to the end customer, and that's how technology helps you.
All right. So coming to you now, Jasjeet, and Shrikant made some very valid points how technology is helping. So can an SMB founder today afford to not be on the cloud? And also, if you could talk to us about what are the major roadblocks preventing them from migrating to the cloud and kickstarting their digital journey?
Sure, Shruti. I think let's first start by, and I'll take a typical example of an SMB, right? We should think of an SMB, and again, the multiple cohorts in there, but one typical profile could be a business that's been run very profitably, has been in the business for anywhere between 10 to 40 years. And in that period, between 10 to 40 years, running a profitable business, they've acquired a loyal customer base, but this customer base is aging. And at the same time, along with this loyal customer base, what they're beginning to now see is they're beginning to face growth pressures coming in because the global MNCs are in there, the tech-savvy startups are in there, nibbling away at their market share, and they're also under pressure in keeping up their profitability. Their margins are constantly under pressure because of this increased competition. Now, with this as a persona, a well-established regional brand, loyal customer base, but facing a lot of competition, what that does is from a founder perspective, that really kind of puts you in a situation where you now need to look at saying, how do I go out there and compete with the global biggies? How do I compete with the new nimble startups that have come in? At the same time, effectively expanding the customer outreach, increasing the profitability. Now, with all of this put together, when you look at what cloud is doing, cloud is basically democratizing the access to technology. It's creating a much more level playing field where the technology that, say, a Netflix is going to use is exactly the technology that a regional media player who's out there in one of the states providing access or content in a local language to their subscribers is going to get. And through that, the same SMB founder today
tapping into the pay-as-you-go functionality of cloud can now provide the same, in fact, a better experience, I must say, to their customers, leveraging this technology, but bringing all their legacy customer relationships that they've built into the fray as well. And that's where, from my vantage point, cloud at this stage for an SMB founder is a non-negotiable piece.
All right. So cloud is non-negotiable. And Devendra, let me come to you. Jasjeet also spoke about digitalization challenges faced by SMBs. So continuing on this thought, several SMBs report a lack of IT talent and tools as primary barriers to digitalization. So tell me, what is AWS's role here? How are you eliminating these barriers for Indian SMBs?
Absolutely. I think the cloud skills are the skills which are required and mandatory in today's environment. And we are taking, I would say, very drastic steps in ensuring that, we enable India, right? So just to give an example, we are building a platform that will make cloud content available, which is tailored, flexible, and engaging to every customers who basically log onto this platform. And this platform is called the AWS Skill Builder. It basically has close to 500 plus digital content, which basically covers a lot of products, technology, and services. We also try to gamify the whole experience for the users, right? So we have what is called a Cloud Quest, which is basically a learning plan tailored to specific roles related to cloud. So it could be cloud architect role, a developer role, administrator role, a machine learning specialist role, right? We also try to gamify industry-specific verticals. So we have something called the Industry Quest, where we try to gamify what solutions can be tailored specific to certain industries. We also have something which is called the Builder Lab, which basically gives a sandboxed environment where new users can basically try out new products and services and basically play around with a lot of innovation that they want to do on the cloud. We also ensure that we give a sort of certification to people who bring up their skills, which basically helps both somebody who's learning as well as somebody who's wanting to hire the right skills for the organizations to get the right person for the right job, right? We also work with a lot of customers on one-to-one basis to ensure that we tailor make some of the learning and development plans and ensure that they are up to speed.
All right, Devendra, thank you for taking us through how AWS is basically eliminating the digitalization barriers SMEs face. Jasjeet, let me come back to you again. Tell me, how can SMBs tap into the power of the cloud to transform their businesses? If you could share some examples from your experience of SMBs in India utilizing the cloud to drive up innovation, increase their competitiveness, and reach out to a large customer base.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And I'll just continue from where they've left in there as well.
Yeah.
I think if you are a SMB founder today and you're thinking in terms of accelerating your business growth, you're thinking in terms of improving customer experience, or you're thinking in terms of improving business profitability, cloud is the way to go. And if I were to take each of these pillars one at a time, say for accelerating your business growth. And I'll actually take an example of a SMB that I'm very close to because I've seen their journey really kind of materialize over a period of time. And this is Nandu's Chicken. And this is actually a 40-year-old B2B poultry farm business, right? A 40-year-old B2B business. And what they started seeing a couple of years ago is a lot of startups coming in and beginning to eat into their market share because the startups were innovating through a direct to customer model. And that prompted them to say, you know what, we've got the right customer base. We've got the best brand out there in poultry farm. Why can't we get into direct to customer? And they went ahead and set up a D2C business tapping into the power of cloud. And what they've done since then is they've now not only digitized the front end, the customer experience, they've actually created an end-to-end integration from the chicken farm till the end delivery to the customer. And through that, they're actually becoming a leading player in the direct-to-customer space, and they've reinvented their business. And well, when I looked at the last results, just their D2C arm was actually clocking an annual turnover of more than 100 crores. So that's how a B2B traditional business has transformed itself and accelerated their business growth. Now, another example, which I talked about, the second pillar on improving customer experience. And I think another name that I'll take on this one is it's a famous hospital chain from Bangalore, Narayan Netrale, and
Okay.
they are a specialized eye care hospital. Again, a business that's been a well-established regional brand, trusted by their customers, the patients out there for the last 30 plus years. And they've been catering to patients in the Bangalore region. Now, the problem statement that they were looking for is how do they improve patient care, but at the same time ensure that the cost of patient care does not go up.
Yeah.
And they tapped into the power of cloud. And what they've done is for actually a disease like retinopathy for premature kids. Now, this is actually a problem that is a preventable blindness and is one of the biggest causes of blindness out there in premature kids. And ironically, India actually happens to have the highest number of premature babies. So it's a big problem to be solved. And what they did was they tapped into the power of AWS Cloud to innovate using AIML, IoT, and so on to say, today, a technician sitting in Bangalore can actually screen the premature babies in tier 2, tier 3 cities of Karnataka. And only when that screening detects that, you know what, there is actually a retinopathy problem that needs to be treated, is when those patients are then invited to come over to the hospital for subsequent treatment. So effectively, the cost of medical care has reduced, and they've been able to reach out to a much larger set of customers, really catering to improving the healthcare out there, right? So again, improving customer experience. And the third pillar I'll talk about, which I said earlier, was how do you improve profitability by building on cloud? And another player that you could look at is Vishakha Group, a conglomerate industrial giant out there in west of India. And what they've done is they've migrated their SAP workloads to cloud. They migrated a couple of additional workloads. At the same time, what they do is their entire cost on their internal IT spend's gone down because of that. So they've tapped into cloud from an infra perspective and saved costs in there. So effectively, as a founder, you potentially kind of touch each and every facet of your top of the mind business priorities by building on cloud.
All right, Jasjeet, many thanks for taking us through some interesting use cases where SMBs can actually use cloud to drive up profitability and reach out to a much wider customer base. Let me now bring in Kanishk. Kanishk, Doc Motors is an interesting SMB in the automobile industry, from building Asia's first electric motorcycle to India's first electric, motorcycle talks. Motorcycles offer several digital capabilities, such as cloud connectivity, in-app navigation, geofencing, and much more. Tell me, how has leveraging emerging tech enabled you to provide a differentiated experience to your customers?
All right. So for us, having a very connected product was very fundamental for a couple of reasons. The first being was extending the user engagement, right? So we know we built a really great motorcycle. We know that our users enjoy riding their motorcycles. And at the end of the day, once they've had a long day, they're off their vehicles, we still wanted to keep the engagement going, right? And this was possible through cloud connectivity because now we could also do a mobile app-based syncing where users could see the status of their vehicles in real time. They could see analysis. They could see the lean angle at which they ride, because we're a motorcycle company first. We do things like crash detection and crash alerts. And so we provide a whole bunch of features that we want the users to be engaged with, right? The second was we wanted to provide a way to reduce our own service costs, right? So we wanted to get additional information about the vehicle so that our service teams could debug or diagnose issues remotely. We could also provide predictive maintenance algorithms and other features that would benefit the engineering teams. And all of this was possible, like I said, again, because of cloud connectivity. And otherwise, you have a lot of traditional vehicles or traditional automotive industry where a lot of these things were not possible earlier, and vehicles always had to be brought into the service center, right, for any kind of repairs or servicing. And another thing that came up because of cloud connectivity was the fact that you could have a constantly evolving product, right? Because of software over-the-air updates, you can constantly have new features getting deployed onto customer vehicles while they're in the presence of the customer.
Okay. All right. So clearly, you've spoken about the importance of cloud and how it has helped you. Shrikant, let me come to you now. What role do big tech companies like AWS play in boosting IT and cloud penetration among SMBs? If you can talk about that.
So I think, see, one thing is all of us are in complete agreement that today technology adoption is the key to growth. Now,
Yes.
what has cloud done to this? Cloud has made that much easier, because if you looked at technology adoption, you flashed back a few years or probably a decade and saw if technology had to be adopted, it would be a capex model, which means you had to get the material inside, you would get the software. By the software, you should have the capability and the skill to manage. Today, what has cloud done? It has brought in a model where you could do this remotely, you could do it on the fly, you could increase it on the use. I mean, it's a pay as you use kind of a model. So the whole OPEX model has, and cloud has ensured that technology can be adopted faster, quicker, and still, the whole thing can keep happening. Depending on the size of the organization, you don't have to go and kind of put big bucks on the table once. Instead, you can kind of keep moving as you want. So that, I think, has been enabled by cloud. But again, lastly, we also talked a little about skill, right? Earlier, skill was a deterrent. Today, skill is not a deterrent. While skill is needed in house, skill is technically not a deterrent because it's cloud, it is managed remotely. So the skill to the extent of using the application is readed in house. But beyond that, I think cloud comes in and steps in place. So that's how cloud has kind of transformed, or probably taken the adoption of technology multifold, or ensured it multifold.
All right, Shrikant, coming to you now, Jasjeet. The digitization of 10 million SMBs by 2025 is Amazon's commitment to India. So tell me, how is AWS working towards this goal? Why is AWS the best cloud solution partner for SMBs?
So, Shruti, let me first take on the first one because that by
Yeah.
itself is a big, big charter and frankly a big responsibility that all of us are carrying and working towards. Now, digitizing 10 million SMBs in India, right? The way we're looking at it is at the moment, we are adopting a three-pillar framework for this. The first is awareness. And what I mean by awareness is really getting the message on what does digitization mean for the SMBs? How can they get started on this journey for digitization? And what all help is available as they go through this journey? How can this impact their business? Right. So really getting this message out there in a language that is easy to understand, that's easy to interpret, and not a tech heavy language. And with that as the key charter, on the awareness pillar, what we did was last year we rolled out our initiative called SMB Vidyalaya. This is a specific training program where what we did was we created a series of videos which are now freely available to really have that entire learning path freely available for all the SMBs to understand and really kind of get themselves ready for starting their journey on cloud in a very easy to consume business language. So that was the first pillar of awareness. The second was really simplification. And this pillar of simplification focuses on how do we make cloud adoption easier for the SMBs, because you're really gunning after a 10 million number. And for that, what we did was we looked at the overall SMB ecosystem and said, you know what, there are these micro SMBs who are, it's not going to be worth their time to actually invest in going through the nitty-gritties of AWS modules and services. But what we can do is there are ready to deploy business solutions built by our ISV partners. What we did was we went through that list, curated a suite, what we ended up calling as a digital suite, and made it available, well, as easy as on Amazon.in, so that your adoption of digitization, working towards digitization, getting the right business productivity suites for you is as easy as doing any other shopping online. And that became our second focus of really simplification, where we wanted to get the message out to micro SMBs in a much more powerful and easy to consume manner. And the third pillar is really going out there and focusing on financial investments to make the really remove the upfront barrier of cost that a lot of SMBs face when they adopt cloud. Because what they would look at and say, you know what, I understand the value of cloud, But at the same time, I've got my applications running either on-prem, where I've made an investment, or running with a hosting partner, where again, there is a running cost to that. And I just want to kind of go out there and start experimenting on cloud without impacting my profitability. And that's where our investment programs like AWS Lift and others kind of come in.
Okay. All right. So Jasdeep spoke about, how they're making cloud adoption easier for SMBs, how they're simplifying it. So Devendra, I want to know this from you. How easy is it for SMBs to build a tech stack or a tech architecture on AWS cloud? If you can elaborate on that.
Sure. I think Jasjeet earlier spoke about how cloud democratizes everything, right? Today, the best technologies that is available to Netflixes of the world is also available to the smallest SMBs in India, right? And what we have done is this is also true with knowledge. Today, the knowledge that the best of the organizations are architecting the way they are deploying solutions is what we have collated and gathered together, right? That is available in several ways. So one of the way that we have done is we have created what is called the AWS Smart Business Hub. Now, that's a hub where there are architectures, solutions, services that are segregated by industry, by use cases, by business priorities and things like that. We also have what is called a solutions library, which is a vetted offering, which is deployed by a lot of large customers worldwide as well as in India. And this is a prescriptive guidance for a lot of people to follow as they adopt these new technology and services.
Okay.
We have also running a lot of video enabled services where if you're trying to do it for the first time or the first time, we do what is called back to basics. So we run a video program where we take customers through the foundational services of cloud, how to deploy them and what are the best practices involved there. We also do things for startups where we basically talk them to how to build minimal viable products for leveraging cloud and how they can differentiate themselves vis-a-vis a lot of competition out there. So there are various tools and techniques available on the cloud. People just have to go on the AWS site and figure all the resources that I spoke about.
All right. So let me now go across to Kanish, who's actually a customer. Kanish, so tell me, why did you choose AWS as your cloud solutions partner? And how has this collaboration benefited you in upgrading your IT stack and upskilling your talent and building smart motorcycles?
So basically, our fundamental ethos at Torque Motors is providing truly great customer experiences, right? And we have three pillars that we focus on to achieve that. One is safety slash security, reliability, and performance, right? And we also look for partners that have the same driving forces, and that's where AWS really stood out in more ways than one. Their team has been exceptionally supportive. They've done a lot of reviews of our use cases to the infrastructure that we had chosen. They've provided us feedback in terms of optimization of the resources and cost. Uh, and yeah, I mean, we've had a good working relationship with them. So that I think that's one of the reasons we are looking to move more and more workloads to AWS.
Hmm. All right. So let me go across to Jasjeet, who's quite happy with your answer. Jasjeet, AWS recently launched the AWS Lift program in India for SMBs. Tell us, what is AWS Lift and what makes it the biggest and the boldest investment AWS has ever done in helping digitize SMBs in India?
Yes, this is the biggest and the boldest investment that we as AWS have ever done for digitizing SMBs in India. But if I were to look back at my 2 decades of professional experience, I think, in my opinion, this is effectively the biggest and boldest investment I've ever seen anyone do in digitizing SMBs across the globe, not just in India. And why I'm so confident on this is a no commitment, no hidden fee, no obligation program for our customers, because we're not out there to create any hidden charges and make kind of run a business through that. This is a program that guarantees for our customer upfront that they can get promotional credits from AWS up to $83,500. Ballpark, taking the current foreign exchange, would be around 69 lakh INR in 1 year. And this is a tiered program where the customers get these promotional credits directly in their AWS accounts. And these are credits that are directly offsettable against their AWS monthly bills. And the way it kicks in is for your very first dollar spent, you get $750 of promotional credit in your account, right? So let me just reiterate that. The very first dollar spent gets you $750 in your account.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then as your monthly billing increases on AWS, and say you hit a threshold of $500, you'll get another $1,000, effectively making the next 2 months of usage on AWS free. You build further and say you get $2,000 on AWS in your monthly bill, we'll unlock another $1,750, again, effectively making the next 2 months free. And the bottom line being, we are trying to take cost as a barrier for SMBs for adopting cloud out of the equation, and upfront giving them clarity on the credits that they'll get through the first year. And they control their destinies in terms of how much credit will come into their accounts, because the guidelines on how those credits get rolled out, all of that's upfront in saying you hit a billing threshold, the incremental credits come into your account. And what this is effectively doing is, if you're an SMB founder out there sitting on the sidelines thinking, should I or should I not move to cloud? This is basically telling you that, you know what, you could come in, experiment on cloud, try building the next innovation that you've been thinking about for your business. If it doesn't work, you could shut it down, and effectively at no cost to you. But you know what, if it works, you want to continue to run, and then you want to do the next experiment, that's where the next billing tier kicks in.
All right, let me now go across to Devendra. Jasjeet spoke about and elaborated on what the AWS Lift program is. But what I want to understand from you is that how can SMBs leverage the AWS Lift program to migrate, manage, and secure their data on the cloud?
Shruti, thank you so much for asking that question. I think I will basically touch upon and reiterate what Jasjeet just said, right? Just to rephrase it, we are giving a risk-free environment for customers to try out cloud. And we are taking away the roadblocks that typically we hear from customers, right? Questions related to cost, questions related to, flexibility, questions related to, security, right? So if you look from a security standpoint, and that is the most important thing that a lot of customers today are worried about, right? AWS is the most well-architected and a flexible, secure platform. We basically address the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data on a platform. We are also catering to a lot of military-grade and sensitive organizations' infrastructure requirement. And all this is possible because we have close to 300 plus security governance services and feature functionalities that customers can use. We also comply to more than 143 certifications, which basically comply to a lot of requirements that are put by statutory bodies worldwide. So in fact, we give a very, very safe environment for customers to try out new feature functionalities without really getting worried about how secure the data is and where the data is lying. We provide, encryption, throughout the complete life cycle of data, which basically helps ensuring that we are with customers to basically get them to speed in all the three areas that we spoke about, which is with respect to cost, security, and skills.
Okay, all right. Jasjeet, let me come back to you. I want to know who is eligible for the AWS Lift program and how can they sign up?
Well, that was actually super easy, Shruti, because, well, the first criteria is you need to be a business. So as long as you've got a business domain registered, you've got a website of your own, you're running a business, absolutely you're eligible in there. The second criteria is as long as your annual turnover happens to be between, and I'm going to use the INR terms for this, might vary by a bit on the exchange rate, between 80 crores to 600 crores as an annual turnover. That is a zone where we believe that's the set of customers we've heard back from saying those are the ones who will gain the maximum out of tapping into Lift. So an annual turnover between 10 crores, between 80 crores to 600 crores comes in there. And the third criteria is this is a program where we're looking at customers who've been sitting on the fence or in very early stages of their cloud adoption. So effectively, if your existing AWS bill is below $750, ballpark 60,000 odd INR, is when you're eligible for tapping into the power of AWS Lift. And just again, I think the way I'd want you to look at it is you don't need to worry about these eligibility criterias. Just you're a business, you meet the annual revenue threshold, come in and apply, and our teams will do the rest, and they'll get in touch with you, both in terms of telling you whether you're eligible for this or not, as well as bringing on board the right AWS partner who can handhold you through the journey, making this cloud journey even simpler for you.
All right. So big shout out to companies, a business who has an annual turnover of 80 crore to 600 crore and is in its early stage of cloud adoption. So big shout out to all those businesses out there. Kanish, let me now come to you. You've already signed up for AWS Lift. Tell me, how has your experience been? How are you leveraging the initiative to enhance Talk Motor's digital capabilities?
Right. Thanks for the question. So, like I said earlier, we have a whole bunch of features that we have started planning out on the cloud. The infrastructure is already ready. But like the other panelists mentioned, the adoption has been a challenge in most other cases. A lot of companies have this inertia, right, about moving to the cloud, about moving away from their own servers, from their on-prem servers. And I think the AWS Lift, especially for us, has been great because it's given us the leverage to experiment more than anything else. Experiment with use cases that don't always become a feature, right? So it becomes a safety net for especially the development teams, for the engineering teams. Normally, you have engineering teams face one hurdle, which is always budgets and approvals, right, from management. And now, when you go back to them and say, you know what, we're going to reduce our total cost of ownership thanks to the AWS Lift program, it just becomes that much easier to get those approvals and to start experimenting. And you fail faster, you fail forward.
Okay, all right. Jasjeet, coming back to you, one of the key advantages of this program is cost efficiency, possible due to the linked AWS promotional credits and pay-as-you-go model. In fact, you mentioned that SMBs with a minimum billing of $1 will be rewarded $750, just reiterating that fact, and of AWS promotional credits in their account for over 12 months. If you could elaborate more on the kind of credits that customers will get out of this.
Sure, Shruti. I think the way to think of this is you sign up, the moment you're approved, the team will look at your existing billing. And if you're just starting off, the first dollar means you get $750 on your account. And by the way, that $750 is fully offsettable against the AWS bill. There is no cap to say, you know what, you can only use X dollars in a particular month. No such limitations in there. And as you keep building on AWS, and as your monthly bill then reaches the next threshold, and to the way that Kanish said, as you experiment more and you figure out there are additional use cases that you want to run for your business, you reach the next billing threshold of $500, the next tranche of credits of $1,000 kicks into your account automatically. Again, fully offsettable against your outstanding AWS bill. So there is no cap to say that, you know what, we'll keep giving you credits, but only you could use X dollars a month. There is no such limitation. And your destiny, again, I like trade, is in your hands. As you keep increasing your usage, as your AWS bill, which is visible to you, you see that, and you see that you've hit the next billing threshold, you'll automatically be made aware that your next set of credits is going to be credited into your account. Again, usable at the same time.
All right. Let me now bring in Shrikant Srinivasan. From increased innovation to scale, SMEs are able to enhance their business prospects through emerging tech adoption. But still, many continue to not be able to fully lift their digital plans off the ground due to cost implications. So, what are your thoughts, Shrikant, on the AWS Lift model and how it can help SMBs thrive in an uncertain economy?
So, what happens in uncertain economy? Typically, in an uncertain economy, the purses get tight, they're tightened, right? I mean, people do not want to kind of invest more without predictability. And I think a cloud model is something that makes it very easy, because cloud model is, one, very flexible. Second, it gives you the freedom to kind of add as you go, the freedom to, and or you add what you want on the move as you start using them, as you start experiencing the model, as you start getting your small success stories in the model. So that kind of helps in a large way. Second is the whole when purses are tight, Even managing the whole infrastructure becomes difficult. So again,
Yeah.
cloud makes it easy because you don't have to kind of invest. While I'm not undermining the need for the skill, the need for all the skills in house is not there in a model of this nature. Because if in an on-prem model, everything needs to be in house. So in a cloud model, much of it can be managed remotely or on the cloud, and hence that makes it easy. So these are ways in which, in an uncertain economy, organizations can continue to invest on technology, can continue to adapt to technology, but still the pockets are not, being bitten too much. So that kind of helps. And more importantly, this also becomes, I mean, cloud has also had another big opportunity, even from a tech SMB perspective, right? While a lot of SMBs in the country are adopting technology today for their own businesses, even there are a lot of SMBs in the technology space whose core business is technology. Even for them, this has turned into a large opportunity, because this has turned into a big domestic opportunity, domestic business opportunity for them to go to many of these companies. That creates a business for them. They start working with many of these so-called businesses whose core business is non-tech, right? Manufacturing and so on and so forth. They help them in implementing this technology, and again, cloud has become a big opportunity for all of them.
All right. So a big opportunity to for everyone. Let me go now to Devendra. Devendra, apart from promotional credits, what more does AWS Lift offer? In terms of training or partner support, if you could throw some light on that as well.
We basically spoke about how Lyft addresses the three core challenges of cost, skills and security. However, there are a lot of customers who are still on the fence, right? And we have what is called the AWS Partner Network, which basically comprises of system integrators who are specialists on various products, services, and solutions. And customers can basically engage with the system integrators to help them on their journey to cloud. We also have several ISVs, which is called independent software vendors, who basically build their solutions on the AWS platform. Now these are vertical solutions which are catered to specific industries and use cases, and customers can as well use that. To add to that, we have what is called the connected community cloud, right? So basically, it's a community which basically has several, learning paths, right? So one of them is learning with peers, where you could basically look at how peers from the same industry or across industries are deploying cloud, and the several use cases, and also interact with various AWS experts in the community. The second is the digital innovation piece, right? Today, a lot of startups want to innovate, and they're basically looking at ways to innovate, and how to innovate themselves. They could actually learn from the Amazon experience of how to put innovation into action. And there is a lot of knowledge on the community side, where you could basically inculcate, culture of innovation within your own organization. The third piece is the AWS resources. There are, umpteen examples of the number of resources, like example, white papers, my architectures, blogs, videos, where customers can basically go search for the specific use cases, and basically go through them to basically understand the services, solutions that they would like to deploy on their own cloud environment.
Shruti, if you don't mind, I want to just
Yeah,
come
yeah,
in there
please
as
go ahead.
well.
Yeah.
And I think just want to add on to a couple of points that they've said, because I link it back to research that we did with all our SMBs, because at AWS, innovation happens when we hear from our customers. We look at what our customers' challenges are, and then we work backwards from that. And when we reached out to our customers over the last couple of years, there are three key themes that we've been hearing and this is all SMBs out there, right? That what are their barriers to adoption? And it starts with the upfront cost, which is directly addressed through AWS Lift. The second is when they look at their in-house tech teams, there is this fear in the mind of the founders or the CEOs saying, you know what, my tech teams might not be cloud ready today. And the third is that, you know what, I actually have a bunch of ideas, but I don't know where to start, how do I proceed on this journey? So there is this lack of knowledge or clarity around the entire cloud journey. And the way we've also built in addressing parts 2 and 3 of these challenges, the financial part we've talked enough about on the AWS Lift. The way we address the second and third challenge is the moment you sign up for AWS Lift, again, something that we've done completely free of cost for you is we will assign the right partner, the best partner that we believe who's worked with other companies like yourselves in your region, within your sector, and get them in with the idea that they will come in, again, free of cost for you, do a tech assessment. Off the back of that tech assessment, they'll be able to guide you through your cloud journey, handhold you through this entire step. And along that path, what will then happen is the tech gap that you're observing within your existing team as well is where our team of solution architects from Dave's team, our training and certification teams, as well as our partner themselves, they'll work closely with you to make sure that your in-house teams are fully self-sufficient by the time these solutions are being built on cloud. Because ultimately, this is your business, and we are here to support you in that.
All right. Okay. Karish, let me go across to you now. Both Jasjeet and Devendra spoke of not just about the cost efficiency the AWS Lift program brings in, but also the kind of partner support the program offers. So, Karish, based on your experience at Torque Motors, what is the biggest advantage of the AWS Lift program for SMBs? What have you, witnessed?
Okay, so like I think I mentioned earlier as well, the biggest advantage of the Lift program specifically was the leverage and the freedom it gave us to experiment, right? And again, like the other panels mentioned, it's all about scale, right? So right now we're in about 5 cities and we're going to grow to 72 cities in the next 1 year, and everything changes, right, with that. And the whole Lift program, the fact that you, with every tire, with every increased spend, you get additional credits that obviously becomes beneficial in the long run in terms of cost. And again, like Mr. Devendra said, in terms of the services that are available, the breadth of services that are available with AWS for every use case imaginable, from telemetry to DevOps to AI/ML, it's exceptional.
All right. Okay. So one final question before we wrap up, and this is both for Devendra and Jasjeet. What advice would you give to SMB founders signing up for AWS Lift? How can they make the best of this opportunity? Devendra, why don't you go first?
I would just say go grab leap, right? Take the first step. We, along with our partners, are there to handhold, guide you, in every step of your cloud journey. Uh, Basically, extract the value of cloud with respect to cost, productivity, innovation, business agility. I think go out there, innovate, and give those great customer experiences that your customers are looking forward to.
All right. Go grab leap. Jasjeet, what do you have to say?
Well, a big plus one to what Dave just said. I'll just say be as bold as Kanishk and the Top Motors team and get started with Lyft. And rest assured, you'll not be disappointed because we're all in there with you to help you on your journey on cloud. And that's where the entire partner network, which by the way happens to be the strongest cloud partner network globally, is out there to support you and handle you through this entire journey.
All right. Thank you so much, panelists, for joining us for this special Tech Shala. Hope this conversation has been an effective one and can help the SMBs enhance their digital capabilities and unlock newer business values. And before we bid goodbye, here's a short snippet of the AWS Lift program. Take a look.
Improving business agility, innovating rapidly, and being free to scale globally. These are just some of the benefits that you can expect from your journey to the cloud. But maybe you're being held back by concerns around data security, cost, or how you can fill the skills gap. Allow me to introduce AWS Lift, a program designed to help you kickstart your digital transformation journey in the cloud. It's your chance to try the cloud in a risk-free environment, paid for by AWS. Let me show you how it works and how you can get started. First, sign up for AWS Lift with your business details if you haven't already. Then you can just sit back and relax while we take care of some of the admin. We'll call you to find out more about you and your business requirements. And once confirmed, you'll get an email to say that you've been accepted into Lift. Then you'll be able to look forward to 3 simple steps that will get your AWS cloud journey moving. Step 1. Create your AWS account if you haven't already. Step 2. Unlock your benefits. You'll get access to AWS experts, events, webinars, and on-demand training resources. Plus, partner offers to help you to grow your business. Step 3, it's time to start experimenting on AWS Cloud. You'll be eligible for $750 in AWS credits as soon as you start billing as little as $1 in AWS Cloud services per month. You can easily track your usage and try out our security features and experience our performance and uptime at no cost with the credits in place. You can start billing anytime within 3 months of your acceptance into the program. And the great thing is that the more that you use AWS, the more credits you could earn. When you spend your credits, you're investing in your future success. So we'll top up those credits to invest in you as your cloud usage grows. If your usage grows beyond $500 per month, you'll receive an additional $1,000 worth of credits after you've exhausted all of the credits from the earlier issuance. Similarly, when your usage grows above $1,000 per month, we'll issue a further credits of $1,750 to your account. This will happen all the way up to a maximum of $83,500 in your first year, starting from the very first month of your first billing. Try over 200 services with no lock-in periods or hidden fees and use AWS to grow at your own pace. There is no timeline. Your business needs and priorities will dictate how fast you move. Tempted? Great! Get started with AWS Lift today. Sign up now and kickstart your digital transformation journey with AWS Cloud. And what's more, you can connect with the ever-expanding number of Lift members on the connected community to build and grow your business on the cloud.